Before there were cities, before there were kings, before we learned to write our names or build great pyramids, there were just particles, tiny floating building blocks drifting through space. Over billions of years, those particles formed stars, planets, and eventually us. Roughly 3 billion years ago, life began to stir on Earth. For most of history, it was simple: microbes, algae, single-celled organisms. But time is patient, and evolution has a way of working miracles. Fast forward to around 6 million years ago, our ancestors began to walk upright. They were not yet human, but they were close. By 1.9 million years ago, Homo erectus stepped out of Africa and into the wider world, our first global explorers. They used tools, built fires, and carved out an existence in unfamiliar lands. Then, around 400,000 years ago, the Neanderthals emerged in Europe and Asia, thick-boned and cold-resistant. They weren't us, but they were close. And then, about 300,000 years ago, we arrived. Homo sapiens, the only survivors of a long branching family tree. But what made us different? What allowed us to dominate the planet? The answer is civilization. Chapter 1. The Cradle of Civilization, Mesopotamia. Our story begins in the Fertile Crescent between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, modern-day Iraq. Around 4000 BCE, humans in Sumer began growing crops not just for survival, but for prosperity. With irrigation and innovation, cities like Uruk and Ur sprang to life. The people created writing, cuneiform, to keep track of trade, taxes, and temple offerings. This was the dawn of history. Chapter 2. Egypt, Kingdom of the Nile. While Sumerians wrote on clay, the Egyptians carved into stone. Around the same time, the Nile gave birth to one of the most iconic civilizations ever. Egyptians believed their kings were divine. To ensure eternal life, they built grand tombs, pyramids that scraped the sky. Pharaohs like Khufu and Ramses II ruled not just with armies, but with myths, rituals, and immortal monuments. Chapter 3. The Indus Valley. The Forgotten Engineers. Further east, another marvel quietly flourished: the Indus Valley Civilization, in what is now Pakistan and northwest India. From 3300 to 1300 BCE, cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro featured grid layouts, underground sewage systems, and standardized weights. They traded widely, lived in harmony, and then, mysteriously, disappeared. Chapter 4. China, the Mandate from Heaven. In ancient China, rivers brought life and destruction. After catastrophic floods, a legendary figure named Yu the Great tamed the waters and earned the people's trust. Thus began the Xia dynasty, the first of many. The Chinese believed their rulers ruled by heaven's blessing. But if a king failed, through tyranny or disaster, he could lose that mandate, a divine check on power. Chapter 5. Hammurabi's Code, the Birth of Law. In Babylon, around 1750 BCE, King Hammurabi carved laws into stone: eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Justice was harsh, but it was order. The law made civilization possible.